Have you ever felt tired before the work even began? Have you ever looked at a long road ahead and felt your strength leave you? Not because your body was weak, but because your thoughts were already far away. Many people carry their heaviest burdens not on their backs, but in their minds. This is a tale about focus and how learning to stay with a single step can change the weight of an entire journey. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support truly means a lot. Ilara lived in a quiet village where mornings arrived softly and paths remembered every foot that crossed them. She was a weaver by trade, known for cloth that was strong and calm, as if patience itself had been woven into every thread. Yet inside her, patience did not come easily. Her hands worked well, but her mind was often restless, running ahead of her body, worrying about what was still unfinished. Each season, Ilara carried her woven cloth across the hills to a distant trading post. It was the same journey every time, and yet it never felt lighter. Before her feet touched the path, her thoughts were already climbing the highest slopes, counting every ache that might come. By the time she stepped outside her door, she already felt worn. On one pale morning, she lifted the folded cloth onto her back and tied the cord tight. The village was still, but her mind was loud. She thought of the steep ground, the long hours, the slow climb beneath the sun. Her shoulders tightened and her breath grew shallow, though the journey had barely begun. As she walked, the path rose gently through open land and into stone and grass. Ilara kept lifting her eyes toward the distant hills, measuring how far she still had to go. With every glance, the road seemed longer. Her steps slowed, not from effort, but from the weight of her own thoughts. She stopped often, telling herself she needed rest. Yet her legs were not broken, and her breath was not gone. Still, the cloth felt heavy, heavier than it should have been. Near a small stream, Ilara lowered herself onto a stone. The water moved past her without pause, slipping around rocks, never questioning how far it still had to travel. She watched it in silence, feeling something stir inside her chest. An older woman approached along the path, carrying a basket of herbs. Her steps were steady, her face calm. She sat nearby, and for a while neither spoke. Only the sound of water and wind filled the space between them. At last, the woman spoke gently. "You walk as though the road is already too much." Ilara sighed. "The hills feel endless today." The woman looked at her feet. "Do they feel endless?" she asked. "Or do your thoughts?" Ilara did not answer. The woman pointed to a bend in the path just ahead. "Only walk to there," she said. "Not the hills, not the end. Only that." Ilara stood, uncertain, then adjusted the cloth and walked. She listened to her steps. She felt the ground beneath her feet. When she reached the bend, she stopped, surprised. She was still tired, but not defeated. She turned to speak, but the woman was already gone, her figure small against the land. Ilara chose another point ahead, no farther than she could clearly see. She walked again. Each step felt complete, needing nothing more. The ache in her legs remained, but it no longer ruled her. As the sun climbed, the hills rose one by one. Ilara stopped counting how much remained. She noticed the warmth on her skin, the rhythm of her breath, the steady pull of the cloth on her back. When her thoughts wandered, she gently brought them back to where she stood. The wind grew stronger along a narrow ridge. In the past, this place had filled her with doubt. This time, she leaned forward slightly and walked. The wind pushed, but her focus held. Something changed as the day moved on. Her steps found a rhythm. Her shoulders loosened. The cloth felt lighter, not because it weighed less, but because she was no longer fighting it in her mind. When the trading post came into view, Ilara did not rush. She walked as she had all day, calm and present. The long journey had passed without the usual struggle, not because it was shorter, but because she had walked it differently. She placed the cloth on the table. The trader nodded, running his hands across the weave. Ilara smiled, but her pride reached deeper than her craft. The return journey followed the same path, yet it felt changed. The hills no longer stood as a single heavy thought. They were only steps taken one at a time. In the days that followed, Ilara carried this lesson into her life. When work felt heavy, she stayed with her hands. When fatigue came, she rested without judgment. She stopped arguing with the distance and learned to honor the moment she stood in. Seasons passed, and the journey remained long, but it no longer felt endless. And here is the quiet truth this journey leaves behind. Discipline of the mind does not remove effort. It teaches us where to place our attention. When we stop carrying the whole road at once, the step beneath us becomes enough. So when your path feels heavy, do not ask how far you must go. Ask only where your feet are now. That is where strength begins. What part of this journey felt most familiar to you? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for the watching.